Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra. I'm welcoming all of you on behalf of EduTV for this session on pre-discussion, particularly on the impact of Budget 2021 in the field of higher education. We have two of our wonderful guests, Professor Kamlesh Mishra, Vice Chancellor, Rishi Wood University, and we have Shri Kanwar Singh Shekhar Vijendra ji, the Chancellor from Shobit University. And above all, when we consider about the very encapsulation of learning and quality delivery, we look forward to every budget with some allocation. Union Budget 2021, government slashes allocation for education by 6.13%. And the expectation is the expenditure is as about 93,224 crores. So we are looking forward to understanding the mechanism and how the higher education is being looked at. So, of course, among the most prominent announcements concerning education in the country are the 100 new Sainik schools and the above across, the partnership with the NGOs and the private schools. But keeping the higher education platform in view, the commission will be introduced in the coming year, and it will be an umbrella body with 4 verticals to oversee the standard setting, accreditation, regulation, funding, above all. So that way, sir, over to Professor Kamlesh Mishra ji to initiate the talk on how do you feel, sir, that we are going to be looking forward with a positive note with the challenge of COVID, the admissions, the effect, the budget, and all what we have. Are we going to be there with the peaceful walk? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for having me today. I think the first thing that I would start with is that first we need to realize that this is a very, very special kind of a budget. This is not a normal budget. This is a budget to kickstart the Indian economy. That's the first thing. Now, we generally have this habit that when the national budget is presented, we start dissecting it sector by sector, ki bhai kisko kya mila, kisko nahi mila, who got how much and how much impact. Is the government putting enough emphasis on this or it is not putting? I think this year I would like to avoid that and look at every sector in relation to the overall strategy of the government, that how quickly and how fast can we generate that demand and supply that is necessary to create employment and bring back the economy on a growth trajectory. So that's the main thing. Now, that does not mean that education is not important. It is as important as it is before, and I think if you see the kind of things that they are doing or trying to do, or the changes that they are trying to bring, I think it is very clear that the focus has not gone from the education, but probably in this budget, it may be not showing as much as it should show. But it definitely shows up as a clear priority area. Maybe it's not as much in terms of the amount of funding. Everybody expects that every year there will be 10,000 or 15,000 increase in the funding. But I always say that let's look at our own house budgets. There are 2 ways of doing this, and a lot of people do that. Take a lot of debt and loans and live a good luxurious life and suffer later on. Or you try and not increase your fiscal deficit to such an extent that you will have difficulty in later years to pay that. We don't want to become Pakistan, right? Which lives on loans. So there are only 2 ways. One is that we increase the tax rates, which is the middle class and the corporate sector who will pay and generate that money that is required to kickstart the economy. Understanding that we have already spent so much money during the pandemic, which was not expected, right? So the question that we have to ask is, where is this money going to come from? So obviously, if we know that we cannot print it, we cannot increase the tax revenues, then obviously we need to now, we have certain amount of money and we need to prioritize where we will get the maximum bang for this every month rupee that we are going to put. So obviously, infrastructure is a big thing, and it's a common economic fiscal policy statement that, in a time of this kind of a recession or slowdown, it is good for the government even to dig holes and ask them to fill it in the evening, right? So what they have done is that they have focused on those sectors which are going to create a lot of employment. For example, infrastructure. Infrastructure creates a lot of employment, and it creates employment to those people that really need the employment at this time. That's a great area. Health sector is another area. So I think I look at very positively to what has happened in terms of expenditure that has been proposed for the education. And education is a long-term system. It's not that if this year we would have spent 10,000 or 15,000 crore more, something would have changed drastically. It's a policy that will take some time. But also we have to remember that besides this, the government has committed 50,000 crores for research also, which is a good amount of money that has come, which was not there before. So if you look at how much budget allocation has been made for, or there has been cut in the education ministry, well, more than that has been made up in form of research funding. So, we should look at that also. So I feel that, from a nation's point of view, from where we are today, from what kind of a economic situation we are today, I look at this as a great budget to kickstart the economy. And the dent is not that much on education. Yes, it's a 1 or 2 year we will have this, but I think the intent of the government in terms of education is very, very clear that they are very buoyant. They're opening FDI. They're doing everything that is required. At least the intent is very clear.
Okay, right. Thank you. Now we have Kumar Shekhar ji. Well, sir, we understand that there is a rupees 3,000 crore allocation is for apprenticeship initiatives and opportunities for graduates and diploma holders in engineering. And also we have heard that there is a tie-up with Japan and the UAE for some kind of skill learning or work-based or work platform skills. What is your comment on that? And do you think that we were not having anything of that up till now, or it has brought out in a new bottle or something?
Thank you very much, first of all, to Adu TV for this initiative to discuss our budget and its impact on higher education. As Professor Mishra has said,
yes,
that this is a great budget in current circumstances. And I always believe that this is a budget from survival to revival. We survived the pandemic. Now we have to revive the country, the economy, all the sectors together. If I look at the apprenticeship and other things, always we were talking about the challenge that industry and academia interface is not there. And we all had our own challenges and issues. Apprenticeship failed because they had to pay something and people were not willing and they were not getting the right candidates. I am sure that it will help to give an opportunity to young boys and girls to learn on the floor and to apply what they will be learning in the universities. As UAE and Japan is concerned, we have to look at more details. What is that all about and what type of skills the government is talking about. But in total, if we look at the budget, all those initiatives in education, like if I look at the body, National Higher Education Regulatory Body, Implementation has been discussed for this year. Last year it was announced, it will be there. It is going to help a lot. And 15,000 schools, if I look at.
Yeah.
Because every time higher education sector, what we talk, we say that schools are not doing their job and we are getting half cooked material and we are not in position to shape them the way they must be shaped. So that has to be seen, and all those things have been taken care right from schools or Eklavya schools. I'm really happy to see that 100 army schools have been discussed in that, and research foundation.
Yeah.
However, 5-year plan has been there that in 5 years the spending will be of 50,000 crore rupees, but it's a huge amount. If we look at, if we are able to spend it properly, we can bring a wonderful change in the country. And in these current circumstances, I think better budget could not be there.
Yes, certainly. That's true. That's true. So, final round with Professor Mishra. We have also heard about the National Digital Educational Architecture, that is NDEAR, which is supposed to be set up to support the teaching and learning activities. The digital architecture set up under this will help educational planning, governance, and administrative activities of the center and the states and the union territories. How do you think higher academic will have a role here to upgrade its existence?
See, I've never been against digital upgradation. I think it's necessary. My only concern has been the uneven distribution of digital technologies. Because even it is necessary in order for us to have good bandwidth, good online teaching, all these things are necessary. But we would also understand that, uh, it has also created a lot of inequalities also
True.
because of the
A digital divide, if I call it.
digital divide. Even today, 60-65% of all educational institutions in the higher education segment are in rural areas, which have nothing today, right? So I think it's a good initiative that at least we are beginning to recognize that we need to be digitally very powerful nation in order to grow. Obviously, that my only hope is that also has an emphasis on the rural infrastructure development for the digital side to bring about that parity between, otherwise it's going to be an elitist concept. We are sitting in metro cities and we are very happy that we are able to teach digitally, even though I personally don't believe that we have done a very great job teaching online, right? It's okay, kaam chala hai,
I know.
but I don't think that colleges and universities will ever get out of the face-to-face mode of learning. But having said that, I think it's absolutely necessary. There is no going back on digital technology. We need to enhance. But what that would also require, it's not just that we say that, okay, the rural segment also should be covered, but for that we need more powerful satellites, new communication satellites have to be launched, the 5G technology will have to come, the fiber optics has to be laid. So I think what I'm happy about is that the emphasis of the government is very clear. The intent of the government is very clear. I think they are going all out for major reforms in every sector, right? Which is a very bold step.
Certainly.
And they don't seem to be backing out. They are very firm on going through reforms. It's just unfortunate that we have very bad opposition that doesn't understand what is in the interest of the country and what is in their personal interest. They're not able to make a judgment, which takes. But I guess that's a price that we pay for democracy, and we should all accept it. But I'm very happy with the
Budget,
allocation that has been made, because it paves a way forward for us to start bringing about a lot of changes.
Okay, right. Then we have the last round question with Professor Shekhar. Sir, senior and retired teachers will act as mentors of school teachers and educators through constant online and offline support on subjects like themes and pedagogy. So I believe it is a great recognition to that talent which was already there. And now recalling them, like in Corona time, we recalled some of the professors, doctors. So probably this is the clarion call, I believe. How do you think it is
It
viable?
is not only a right decision, it is the decision which was overdue.
Hmm.
Globally, neither a doctor
Yes,
retires nor a professor retires.
certainly, sir.
It was only in India that you retire a person by the time he becomes wise. During one of my visits to Melbourne University, when I asked the vice chancellor, he was talking about some Nobel laureates coming out from Melbourne University, and I requested him, can I meet some of them?
Hmm.
So during my visit to the campus, I met some of the people, those who were 80 plus. They were
80
sitting in
plus.
80 plus, they were sitting in their labs, they were Nobel laureates, and they were working.
My goodness.
You know, what we have done in national waste was happening.
Right.
And this is wonderful initiative. Why only 75 or anything? Anybody who has knowledge,
Sure.
their role is in educational institutions.
Certainly.
Because it is not only that we have to impart the information or dissemination of information, we have to create knowledge. And
Certainly.
creation of knowledge needs experience, exposure, failures, so many things around. And this is a wonderful initiative. We at Shobit University were doing it. We
Hmm.
have a policy when we invite all retired people around, and we call them eminent professors.
Wow, lovely.
So we tell them, you come here, whatever you wish to do, you want to guide a scholar, please do guide. You want to guide a teacher, please do guide. You want to advise me, please do advise. But please come and visit our campuses time to time.
That's so nice.
Whenever it is convenient, please come and spend a day with us in our campus, and we will be more wiser. So
Certainly.
this is a wonderful step, and I'm sure that it will not stop only with the universities or schools.
Hmm.
Otherwise, also we have to take it.
Yeah.
Because you know, this country has forgotten a very important historical art we had, that was storytelling. जो पंचतंत्र से शुरू होती थी
True.
और हमारे उपनिषद में हमारी सब जगह कहानी सुनाते थे. And those stories were not only moral stories. Those stories were full of wisdom. They were eye openers.
True.
And I am sure that when these wise men will be coming and women will be coming to our campuses, the students, the young generation will be more wiser, more empowered, more enthusiastic, and they will do wonders what they are supposed to do.
That's great. And not only the students, but also the teachers,
Everybody,
professors,
everybody.
lecturers. Yeah, right. Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
so good what Kumar Saab has said, you know, that
Yeah.
probably we are the only nation where, or the Asian part of countries where we have these kind of problems, where a 90-year-old can lead a nation, a
Hmm.
90-year-old can be a lawyer, a 90-year-old can be a doctor, but a 70-year-old professor cannot lead 30
Cannot
students.
be a, yeah, yeah. That's
Which is
what
so
really
unfortunate.
true.
You know, look at all the Nobel laureates who are sitting in Harvard, MIT, and Princeton. They're all 90 plus, and
I
they
know.
are working.
That's great. That's great. So thank you very much, Professor Mishra and Professor Shekhar. Probably we are expecting focus to boost spending on job creation, rural development, generous allocations for the development schemes, putting more money in the hands of the average taxpayer and easing rules to attract foreign investments, plus the collaboration for training, skill training through Japan and the UAE as targeted through MOU by the government. We are looking forward for more details that how and what way we are going to be doing it. So thank you very much for being with us today. And I look forward to a major implementation, a practical implementation of this budget, and we come win-win as a spectrum. And thank you very much once again.